future, I think. Talks a lot of sense. Excellent. Jeff Banks is here. He's right, isn't he? I mean, we are in a bad place. You've been saying it for a while.
Well, I think one of the things I read this morning was that this James Heaver Brick, is now talking about our debt rising from 3 trillion to 4 trillion.
Wow.
And it's like, which is absolutely balmy.
And most people, when they hear that figure, they can't even get their head around it.
No, it's like,
what does that even mean?
Yeah.
You know, if you stood, £5 notes on from the base to the top of the tree, you'd probably reach space or something, wouldn't you?
And what nobody seems to be talking about to me is how you actually generate wealth in the country.
Yeah.
So it's like any household, you go out, you earn your wages, you come home, put it on the kitchen table, and you figure out what you've got to spend.
Yes.
Nobody is talking about how we generate more wealth in this country.
Yeah.
And
because
that really
I think
is
the
critical.
trouble with the Labour government and the Labour kind of individual ministers is that they don't understand growth. They think it comes from government. They think if the government hands out money to you to have a grant to start some kind of jumble sale business, that's a great thing. Well, it isn't, because one, they're giving money to somebody who probably should be finding the money for themselves, right? And two, they're subsidising a business which otherwise wouldn't work. And so,
it's really fundamental. If you're a household, somebody goes out and earns the wages. If you've got money to spare, you can look after a friend, you can give something to a relative. If you haven't got that spare money, you just haven't got it.
Right.
And that's the situation that we're in, that we're actually not bringing any wealth into the country, but we're spending more and more on welfare, being generous, that we actually haven't got.
Well, there's a story in the paper today. It's costing us £500,000 a day, right? A day.
Yes.
To move, not to house migrants, to move them around the country.
Yes.
So, if they bring them in to Dover, to put them on a bus to take them to, I don't know, Norwich, that's a cost. If you take them to the doctors in Norwich, that's another cost. If you move them from Norwich to Ipswich, that's another cost. So all of this movement around, which is going on, because they're going from hotel to HMO to the doctors to the football to whatever it is they're getting, £500,000 a day.
Each migrant costs us at least £41,000 per year per head.
Right.
And they're coming in by the boatload.
Yes.
We've already seen over 41,000 arrive this year.
Yeah.
So
41,000 times 41. What did you say it cost us? 41,000 times 41,000. Is that?
Yeah. You're looking at 4 billion.
He's already done it. He says 16 billion.
Yeah. So
you're too quick for me. I haven't even managed to find a calculator yet. I'm still looking. Listen, we're going to come back because we've got a great graphic that I want to play everybody.
Okay.
So this is almost the preamble to the proper chat we're going to have with Jeff Banks. Also, I don't know whether you've seen, Pooch, I've just put a little video in to the live studio. Andy Burnham arriving in Kiev, right? It's a Sky video. I don't know whether you can find it for us and play it out, but have a look at what he's wearing, first of all, and tell me that this is how you would like your Prime Minister to represent. In fact, Jeff can tell us, because he's a man of great sartorial significance, right?
Let's play Jeff's little jingle.
Let's play Jeff. Yeah, Charlotte, can you clip it if you're watching? And it's basically because he's wearing something that I would not expect a Prime Minister to wear. It's a sort of, it looks like a sort of one of those, it's not a roll neck, not quite a roll neck sweater, but it's got a zip on it down to about here. And it's black.
A half zip.
Yeah, it's a half
zip turtle.
There you go, half zip turtle. See, I knew he'd know what it is. But he shouldn't be wearing. He's going. There he is. Oh, here he's coming out. Oh, you can just about see him behind the guy's shoulder. It's got short sleeves. He's coming off a train. He looks like he's going to Southend for the weekend. He's going to Kiev to supposedly present a blueprint. This is another thing I said this morning. He's giving a blueprint to the Ukrainians so that they can make long-range missiles. They can fire them at us. Yeah. Right.
Let's hope we stay friends with them.
Well, exactly. And what if the Russians nick the blueprint?
And they suddenly don't turn around and think, oh, we're not your friend anymore.
Yeah, I know.
And we've given them the blueprint of what they can actually fire at us.
It's insane, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible.
Crazy.
Just ridiculous. So we've got all sorts of things to talk about this morning in terms of... you said you've not been away anywhere, but you haven't been here for a couple of weeks. What have you been doing?
I've been painting and decorating.
Really?
So, I got a quote to paint the outside of my house, which was a fortune. And I thought, I'll do it myself. It's like...
Good for you.
We
were just talking about the outrageousness now of the cost of things, like you've heard the story about Pooch's dog. So George this morning, so far £2,100.
Yeah.
And they haven't fixed him yet.
Well, I've got 2 Bassets, and like...
the ones that keep running away and coming back.
The cost of those at the vet,
yeah.
I'm scared of actually even clipping their nails.
Yeah.
So I take them to the vet to have their nails clipped.
Yeah.
80 quid.
I know.
Just have their nails done.
Scaffold a ladder when you're painting your house.
Yeah. Did you use scaffolding or did you have a ladder?
Ladders and scaffolding.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'll send you a picture, Poch. It's like,
So did you put this? You had presumably have somebody put the scaffolding up for you.
The ladders I do myself. I've got a guy that actually works for me that puts the tower up.
Right.
So I had a quote to do the outside of the house. It was 28 grand, I think.
Right.
And I thought, to actually earn 28 grand, you've got to earn 60 grand.
Yes.
So I thought, instead of going away on holiday for the summer, I'll actually do a bit of house painting.
Nice. Right.
So that's what I've been doing. And I actually find it really soporific to actually get into the detail of it, really do it properly. Priming it, then 3 coats of paint, then cleaning off all the bit afterwards. Yeah. And each window is a work of art.
And you had a good turn to do it, a good season to do it as well, because there wasn't any rain.
No, that's right.
That's the enemy of outside painting, isn't it?
Well, no, I actually started the process in April when the weather wasn't so good.
Okay.
I had to tog up for bad weather.
But that's brilliant, though. You saved yourself 28 grand.
Absolutely.
Superb.
Well,
there is something very cathartic. I remember once, one of the occasions, many occasions when I got fired from a job. I just got fired from the Daily Express. And it was a kind of, must have been summertime, I think. And we were having a guy come in to put a patio down. I just bought a house in Wiltshire, quite a small little cottage, but the garden was a disaster. So we hired this local guy who actually cut my hair. It was one of these, these local characters in these villages,
Well, he did it with a lawnmower by the look of it.
Thank you. No, well, I wish he was around. I haven't had it cut for a while. Because every time I go,
is that what's called a strimmer cut?
Every time I think about getting it cut, I go, I actually quite like it. I quite like the way it looks. So I'm not taking any of your nonsense. He said, I'll do your patio, because he was a builder as well. And so I came home, and in fact, he turned up on the first Saturday to do it. And I said, well, I've just been made redundant. I said, so I think I'll join you. So we used to, down on our hands and knees, showed me about the string and how you put it along and, you keep it all straight and all of this. And I found it really great, because I'm not very good with my hands particularly, And we used to stop every lunchtime, go up to the pub for a pint, walk up there, come back down, finish it. It was great. We spent about 3 months doing it. Yeah. And the patio was perfect.
Yeah, I find it the same. It's like, stand back and job well done.
Pooch will think I'm being a total kind of, sort of miscreant, sort of middle class Wally here, because he's a builder as well by trade. He can build you anything you like. I mean, he did his whole studio in about 3 hours, right. So it's extraordinary stuff. Yeah. So now that you're back at the coalface, as it were,
yes.
Listening to what we just heard there from our Charlie Lamdin, the economist, he's right, isn't he? That there is no way that we can continue to live like this without some kind of drastic action.
I mean, one of the things I wanted to talk about today was what is great about Britain, some of the great things that we actually do. Yeah. And there's a guideline, and one of the things that sprang to mind over the weekend was JCB. And JCB is an amazing British company.
Yes.
And it was started by a bloke called Joe Bamford in 1945.
It's now James Bamford, I think, isn't it?
No, it's Anthony as the son.
Oh, okay.
But James was the father. Yeah. James Cyril Bamford, JCB. Yeah. And he actually built a tip-up truck for his mate, who was a farmer, that actually started the whole thing going.
Right.
And then in 1953, he discovered hydraulics and actually built a thing called the backhoe digger, which sounds very ordinary, but using hydraulics to lift, and what hydraulics does, it multiplies the pressure by 10 to 100-fold. So he created a machine that could dig a hole. And if you think before 1953, every foundation of building, every canal, every railroad was dug by hand with a shovel. Back in the sort of like 20s and 30s, we brought loads of Irish people over. They were called navvies, navigators, and they actually did all the digging. So
my father used to refer to Irish navvies all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I was growing up.
Yeah, there was an Irish navvy.
Yeah, he had a theory, by the way, that he said every time one of them comes to Britain, they have to bring a cone with them. He said that's why there's so many cones in Britain, coning everything off. You can't do anything, But anyway.
So then Joe really changed the whole of the building and agricultural business.
Yeah.
This very ordinary British guy.
Yeah.
Well, not so ordinary. So everything that changed in America, it changed here in the UK. And that was really the development of the whole building industry.
Yeah.
Today, JCB still exists.
Yes.
It does a turnover
You still
about...
see them everywhere you go, you see a JCB.
$6.5 billion a year turnover.
Right.
Makes profits of about 860 million.
Yeah.
Employs 19,000 people that are all paying tax.
And they're all in Britain.
And they're all mainly all
Most
in
of them,
Britain.
yeah.
In Uttoxeter, the factory there is like staggering. It's absolutely beautiful. And all of that is, to me, a great British success.
Sure.
And we need more of those.
Exactly.
And not less of them. And what scares me...
But we were one of the great... I mean, there's a message just there, if I can get it back, Pooch, about Britain. British creators and inventors need to be elevated. We have lost great innovators to illegals. It's true. We used to be the great innovator of everything.
Yeah,
how many
absolutely.
things were invented in the British, in the Great British Isles? I remember there was a program, and one of my son, who's now in his 30s, was fascinated by JCBs and diggers and things.
Yeah.
There was a program that was made, and I think it was made by James Bamford, but it was about the sort of the history of all of these incredible machines.
Yeah.
And my son, when he was about 4 or 5, was fascinated by it. And he used to play with them. And there was these things like this thing called a drag line, which I don't know if you've ever seen. It's like this massive crane type thing that moves earth.
That's right.
And all of these incredible industrial machines, which we invented and we made,
Well, JCB are probably the 8th or 9th biggest in the world.
Yeah.
The biggest is Caterpillar in America.
Yeah.
And that peculiarly came, the guy that started Caterpillar, he was actually making farm tractors.
Yeah.
And he wanted to get a farm tractor across muddy things.
Yeah.
So he started putting planks down so that he could drive the tractor across muddy ground with a plank. And then he figured, if I put the planks on the wheels instead of laying them down, it saves me keep on doing it. And the bloke that was standing next to him turned around and said, wow, that looks like a Caterpillar the way that's going.
Yeah.
And that's where Caterpillar came from.
Yeah. It's a fantastic
amazing
name, isn't it?
stories.
Yeah, I love those kind of stories where, how did you get to find a name for that particular thing? Like with the JCB, it's just his name.
It's his name.
It's like people said to me, I was doing a thing the other day, it was like, it's not all about you, Mike. And we've seen the sign. It says it's the Mike Graham Show.
Absolutely.
Actually, it is all about me.
It is.
And the same with you. Jeff Banks is the name of your brand.
But what scares me is Anthony Bamford, the son who now runs it.
Yeah.
A lot of people threw bricks at him because he gave himself a dividend last year of £800 million. Yeah.
Why not?
Some wage packet. To be fair, he paid about 340 million in tax on that dividend.
Right.
Now, Anthony could easily move to Monaco and save himself a load of tax, save himself inheritance and all the rest of it. And what frightens me are we are scaring people like Anthony away.
Because why should he stay?
Why should he stay?
Right.
To lob into the arena, to see it actually just wasted. So I think we need to be very careful there. So for me, the JCB story is not just about JCB. It's what should be happening to this country.
Yes.
We need more Anthony Bamfords. We need more people like that generate wealth.
Yeah.
And then you've actually got the money to be able to give away, wealth or whatever.
It's hard to believe that they don't get it in government, that, the more they tax, the less tax they collect.
Yeah.
We just heard there from Charlie Lambden saying this new mansion tax will probably end up costing more to administrate than it will in terms of getting receipts into the Treasury. And we already know that receipts are down because at the end of the day, you cannot continue to milk people. They'll just stop paying. A lot of people, for example, when we had somebody last week, a woman who had a clothes shop. Did she say where it was, Pooch? I can't remember.
I can't remember.
But she's been in business for 20 or 30 odd years, employed maybe 60 people, particularly youngsters coming out of school. And they're now closing the high street shop because they can't afford to run it. They're going to go online only. Yeah. And she said they made model trousers. You'll know what they are. Do you know what they are?
Yeah, modal is like It's a viscose fibre.
Oh, okay.
So
because I didn't know. I didn't know what Model trousers are.
Viscose is actually made from wood pulp,
yes,
and it's like an extruded yarn.
Right.
So
and it's quite soft.
It's natural. It's very soft.
Yeah.
Very easy to wear.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what Modal is.
Well, she said they specialise in those.
Yeah.
But, you know, a business which would have been in the high street for decades is now no longer going to be there.
Yeah.
So the council's going to miss out on business rates. You know, the business will pay probably fewer taxes, generally speaking, because they won't employ anyone, so less national insurance. Yeah. You know, the whole thing is a roll-on disaster.
Yeah, it's a downward spiral, and it's all based on this obsession of actually welfare and giving everything away and looking after everybody, and all of that is great if you've actually got the money coming in the front door.
Yes.
And as a nation, we're not doing that anymore. You know, when I actually, even now, under the Mayor of London, I think our business city activity has shrunk enormously. We're no longer the go-to stock exchange.
No, the only things that are growing, as I said to Damien, is the public sector. You know, so if you go and look at Sadiq Khan and how many people he now employs compared to his first term, you'll probably find that it's gone up by a factor of 50 or 60% because there are more people now working for him in City Hall than ever.
Well, in the last decade,
but that's not creating any growth.
In the last decade, the civil service has grown by 100,000 people. So it's now over 700,000 people employed in the civil service. And a lot of the time, you actually wonder what the heck they're doing. And not only that, they've all got gold-plated pensions. So the financing of that going forward, as you increase the workforce, you've then got a pension liability that's coming up because a lot of them are on full pay as a pension.
Yes. So final salary pension.
Absolutely.
And also they retire earlier.
Retire
so it means
early,
we've got to pay the pension. I mean, I used to joke, I've said this to you before, I think, but I used to joke with my mother, who had a teacher's pension, because she lived till she was 99, right? And she actually ended up getting paid a pension longer than she worked. Because she was fortunate enough to live that long. But I used to make fun of her. I said, you know, you've taken £1 million out of the bleeding exchequer while you've been living abroad, taking this pension. And she was like, well, what else am I supposed to do? And, you know, it's not her fault. But that people are living longer. You know, you're buying into a system which is unsustainable. And originally it was meant to be that you could save enough money during your lifetime for a pension to be paid to you. But it doesn't work like that anymore.
No.
You know?
It didn't go anywhere. So it's like, and then you become a burden. So I think Damien was right when he was on the show earlier on, saying that probably Reform as a political party are the only ones that are actually talking about, you know, three things. How you generate wealth in the country, one. Two, how you actually cut the expenditure on the civil part of the employment, civil service, and how you actually stem this welfare that is now spinning out of control.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, and unless we do all of those things... and we're lurching. I mean, our population has grown by 13 million in the last decade.
Right.
So we've got 13 million more people that we've actually got to look after. Most of whom are not actually, that have come and are not actually contributing anything.
No, of course they're not, because many of them come with families. Many of them are coming, I mean, there's plenty of already homegrown people who don't contribute anything. It's not like we need any more. We had this argument last week about, you know, these lefties who say, oh, but, you know, you can't keep blaming all the sexual attacks and rapes on foreigners because there's plenty of people doing it who live here. Well, yes, there are, but it doesn't mean we have to import any more. You know, we don't need to do that.
There's an article in one of your papers this morning, one of the papers you got on the desk, about at the end, when we left the EU, there was an agreement that for 1 year after us leaving the EU, that people were in the EU, they could actually come and get settlement in Great Britain. We should have actually shut the door at the end of 2021. We've left it open. So people, because the government said it can be deferred for a later date, the people are still arriving. Last year, 50,000 Indians actually came into Britain on that basis and brought their families with them.
So they've got at least 3 to 4 to 5 members of those families, generally speaking.
Absolutely.
So that's you know,
and all of them get absolute, you know, free rights of everything, including the National Health Service. So you wonder why the NHS is under pressure because it's having to deal with all of these extra people that are given that privilege when they actually come here.
And also, did you hear all the squealing when Reform came out and said, look, we're going to we're going to stop people getting benefits if they're not British, right?
Yeah.
And all these people who came here many years ago who said, well, hang on a minute, we've been working in the UK for decades. We've got we pay tax here and all of that. But they've never become British citizens.
Yeah.
And Reform said, well, sorry, if you haven't become a British citizen, then you can go home.
Yeah.
So I don't understand quite the mentality there. If you want to come and live in Britain and you want to work in Britain and you want to have kids in Britain, why wouldn't you become British?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they?
Well, I think, again, being British is like this question mark, challenge about, I think it was Rupert Lowe said, oh, you're only British if it goes back 2 generations, which would mean the king is no longer British because his dad was Greek.
I mean, that's just daft,
I think that's stretching it a bit too far.
That's just daft, because, I mean, if you want to take that logically to the nth degree, then you can go, well, unless you were born here for several generations, you're not British. That just doesn't work. But what I'm saying is that if you want to live in this country for a long period of time and you want to pay tax, then surely it would make sense for you to be British. Why would you want to have another nationality? But what are you doing here otherwise?
I work with a wonderful Indian family in the north of England, the Rui family. Their fathers came when they had to exit Kenya back in about the mid-1950s. They are truly British. And they, again, have built a wonderful business here. There's now 8 brothers that run different divisions of the business. They employ hundreds and hundreds of people, and they are real gross contributors.
And they pay a lot of tax, presumably.
And they pay a lot of tax, and they're happy to be British, they're happy living here. So they are a great example of how, when it's done properly, it can work and you can benefit. What bothers me...
And that should really be the criteria in a way, shouldn't it? It should be, right, if you're going to come in, obviously we're not going to expect you necessarily to be an employer immediately, but you shouldn't be able to bring 6 members of your family in until you've been proven to be, I would say, a contributor to the exchequer.
A net contributor. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Because, I mean, you see these families walking around all the time, and it's not. I don't think it's racist to point out that you can tell quite often if they're from Somalia or from Ethiopia or something like that. I saw a group of women yesterday. I was driving back through Deptford, and there was 8 women, all wearing various different forms of head coverings and outfits, and sort of Somalian looking. And there was 8 of them. All the way from obviously somebody in her late 20s all the way down to about 4 kids. And they were just walking down the road, and I thought, now I can't imagine, I could be completely wrong, they might all be entrepreneurs, they might all be running their own businesses, they might all be paying more tax than I am, but I doubt it somehow, And I just thought, well, that's 8 people there that are probably having to be provided for by the state who are from somewhere else.
Well, I think one of the other facts is that if you take, for instance, Nigerian women that are coming to this country, they are likely to have 2.6 times more likelihood of having children than British national white-born people. So they're actually breeding quicker than the intrinsic British population.
Well, I think the ratio in Nigeria, I think, is the highest in the world of children, is 5 to 1, isn't it? Whereas here it's less than 2 to 1.
Less. And it's
less than 2 children per family.
The nuclear family used to be 2 to, but it's
2.4.
No longer
it's now 1.8 or something. Whereas in Nigeria it's 5.1.
So that's the difference. So coming here, they're actually we're not only coming to Britain, they're breeding faster than local British people. So therefore we are going to get outnumbered. So by the time you actually get
it's a mathematical necessity, isn't it?
2050, 2060. And I think the other frightening fact is that a lot of the inclinations are that by 2060 we could actually become a Muslim country. And I think that is even more dangerous when you're actually looking at Sharia law. And again, one of the downsides are these people that we're importing that would actually do us harm because of Sharia law.
But people don't want to talk about it, do they?
No,
I mean,
they
you
want to
won't find
ignore
very many politicians that are willing to even entertain that type of conversation. They just don't want to do it. They're frightened. They're frightened of being labelled racist. They're frightened of being labelled right-wing. They're frightened of reality.
I'm a practicing Buddhist. I've been a Buddhist for 48 years. So I recognise the fact that I live in a Christian country with Christian law, and I bow to that. That's my homeland. That might be my choice religiously. I'm sure there are a lot of good, well-meaning Muslims that are moderates. But there are a bigger number that are immoderate and would actually do this country harm.
Yes.
That we are seen as infidels.
And certainly who don't believe themselves to be British. And they're not interested in being British.
No, absolutely.
You know?
In fact, what surprises me...
We had a piece of footage the other day, right in the middle of the emergency alert nonsense. You know, I don't know if you got one of those.
Yes.
I didn't, because I already switched my phone off from all of those alerts back in COVID days. But
I did. I was up a ladder. I nearly fell off.
Yeah, I was going to say, you were working late then, because it came in at 7 o'clock. But yeah, so it was all about, you know, possibility of wildfires, you know, be very careful with you know, barbecues. On the same Friday night, I think it was in Leicester, there was a massive firework display for Pakistan Independence Day.
That's right.
Right? And Putin was saying, well, if you're celebrating Pakistan Independence Day, great, in Pakistan, what are you celebrating it here for? And how are you getting away with firing a lot of fireworks up into the air when there's supposed to be some kind of wildfire warning going on? I mean, because nobody would go and say, yeah, sorry, you can't do that.
Sorry, you can't do that.
Because they'd be like, well, that's discrimination.
Yeah.
Right? It's mad. It's insane. Shall we have a look at that Burnham video? Because I think we've got it now. Yeah, I want your considered fashion eye on this one.
We can see him there stepping off the train. He is being greeted by the Ukrainian Foreign Minister, Andrei Sybiha. And as Ivor was saying there, this is the first foreign trip that Andy Burnham has made as Prime Minister. So symbolic that he's chosen Ukraine as his destination, again, reassuring Ukrainians of the UK's backing and reiterating.
And somebody would have picked that for him, right? Somebody would have gone, this will look really cool. He's zipped it all the way up, which is probably, we should be thankful for that. What do you make of that?
I think it's absolutely appalling. One of the things, and I used to do a lot of corporate clothing design.
Yeah, right.
And it always incorporated a tie.
Yes.
Because I believe if you're going to go anywhere, to dress appropriately, wear a tie is a sign of respect.
Yes.
So I believe somebody representing our country. And the interesting thing is, I don't think he's getting them free, but there's a wonderful Manchester company called Private White that make wonderful suits, and especially wonderful overcoats.
This has been written about. I read about this.
Yeah, and they're a really good company. They make everything in-house.
Yeah.
It's
quite expensive though, isn't it?
It's very expensive because it's, again, British labour.
Bespoke.
Semi-bespoke.
Yeah.
In fact, it was named after the founder's, I think, grandfather, Private White, that fought in the Second World War.
Okay.
And they were making suits for Andy Burnham.
I saw that.
So it means he has got a suit of clothes. He could have actually dressed respectfully.
Yeah.
He could have actually presented our country in the manner that people actually view us as. That we were the founder of men's tailoring.
Yeah.
We were the beginning of it all, before the Italians.
And he's a relatively young man. You know, he could dress more
appropriately.
But he could also dress more kind of snappily as well.
Yeah.
You know.
I think just appropriately would be enough for me.
But like a decent suit.
Decent suit, shirt and tie.
Which would make him look better anyway. As somebody just said, you know, the train driver's probably better dressed than that. But it's just, I don't know what's in his head, because you know very well that they will be getting advice. There will have been a conversation about what will I wear when I step off the train. And somebody will have suggested that. And I think it's embarrassing. I just think it makes Britain look shabby. Looks like a bus driver there, says Lorna. He does.
Well, when you
never wear short sleeves unless you're on holiday at the beach.
When you actually look at what's his name from Ukraine turning up at the White House.
Zelensky, yeah. Well, he's the same.
Zelensky turning up, you know,
turns up in
like
combat fatigues. He's never been near the front line.
And then the inappropriate commentary that came out of America because he didn't show respect when he was actually coming to the White House.
Yeah.
And he changed his tune. The second time he went, he actually wore a suit and tie.
Yeah, Trump was right, to be honest.
Out of deference. We should be doing exactly the same thing. So I think, for me, Burnham is trying to be this kind of like Jack the Lad, lefty, you know, I'm one of the boys kind of thing.
Yeah, but he isn't.
And he isn't. No. It's fake.
Right. Also, you don't want the Prime Minister to be one of the boys. You would like the Prime Minister to be a step
leader.
ahead. Yeah,
absolutely.
A leader. Yeah.
So, you know, when somebody is actually leading the country, you want them to be able to step up to the plate and actually look the part, take control, that you believe in what they're saying, and he doesn't do any of that. It's almost like he's running the country as if it was a village fete.
I know.
So it's all these little snappy sound bites, you know, that it's almost as if he's judging a cake show at a local kind of like garden centre.
I know.
And not actually getting a grip of running a country properly.
Absolutely shocking.
Yeah.
Now, as you might expect, we've got this new a feature that Jeff's going to be doing for us every week, and it's what we thought of. This is
every other week.
Kind of a snub. Every other week. Sorry, my apologies. Every other week, and it's going to be the things that he likes, the things he doesn't like.
Yeah.
So we thought of a way of doing that. So we're going to have banked and we're going to have tanked, and you can figure out for yourself which one is which. I'm not sure if we haven't rehearsed this because we don't rehearse anything. But here you go, banked or tanked. You've got banked Ethel Caterham and tanked, obviously, those ridiculous leaflets that went out last week. So should we start with Ethel Caterham? Why is she in the good books for you?
Well, to me, Ethel this week turned 117 years of age. And
Amazing.
She is the oldest living person in the world.
Right.
Which I find amazing.
That is amazing.
And there we are, we can't win the World Cup or do anything like that, but we can propagate the oldest person in the world.
Which means there must be something right about the English diet, right?
And it's like, and Ethel, she started off family of 8. She went to India and worked as an au pair. This was in the reign of Edward VII.
Wow.
I mean, she goes back that far. She's been to 2 world wars. She was probably 7 or 8 during the Second World War. She got married to a lieutenant colonel, moved to Hong Kong, started a business in Hong Kong, outlived 2 of her daughters. Her sister lived to 104.
Amazing.
But there's Ethel at 117, now living in Surrey. And I think top marks to her.
Brilliant.
I think she really is...
Because normally the oldest person in the world lives in somewhere like Nepal, don't they? With sort of the high altitude has managed to keep them safe.
And she...
1909, wow, look at that. Fantastic.
So
she was 7 during the First World War.
That's right, absolutely.
World War,
So
amazing.
Yeah, my mother would be 110. She was born during the Second World War. She lived. So Ethel has outlived everybody. And I think that I haven't seen her on the front page of any national newspaper.
I haven't.
No commendation about it. I don't know where I picked it up from, but I thought this lady deserves absolute recognition and is something great about Britain, that we can actually look after people to the ripe old age of 117.
And normally what happens in those situations, if you get sent to interview them, is you have to ask them, what's the secret? And it's usually a glass of whiskey every night or something like that.
When I read what her secret is, she said that I never argue with anybody.
Really?
Yeah, and that was her secret.
Bad news for me then.
So yeah, I'm afraid, Mike, your number's limited.
Well, and my mother, as I say, did a fair bit of arguing at the time, mostly with my dad. And she lived to be 99. She was 3 months shy of 100.
Oh, right. Okay.
So she did well.
Yeah, she's good.
Now, so obviously the tanked, along with everybody else in the country, well, I couldn't quite believe it when I saw this story.
Neither could I. When I saw this document, that first of all is written in English, aimed at potential asylum seekers, the majority of whom are coming across in small boats, slinging their documents in the water and their telephones, arriving on the shores of Great Britain.
And being given new telephones, by the way, by Vodafone, who I just cancelled my account with this weekend.
Right. So because they were giving out free SIM cards.
Because they hand SIM cards out and phones to these characters, for free. And they said, can you tell us why you're ending your account? We've had an account with you since 2006. I said, because I don't think you should be giving free phones to illegal migrants.
So now, but this document really got my back up because it's explaining how women should be treated, that sex should be consensual. It outlines what consent is. It outlines that any sexual relationship with anybody under the age of 16 is an offence in this country. All of these things, which actually almost give a kind of handbook as to how you potentially can treat people and get away with it. Because the byline at the bottom of it is, if you offend in any of these situations, it could affect your asylum entry. Now, first of all, and then to cap it all, whoever dreamt this one up at the Home Office, and again, it must be under the Home Secretary, she must have known about it, Shabby Mahmood, that what it actually does, it prints it in English. Now, none of these people that are arriving by small boats, we know they don't speak English when they arrive.
Although we're told by some people that one of the reasons that they come to this country is because they speak English and or because they've got a friend or a relative who already lives here.
Yeah.
So they can't have it both ways, can they?
Well, why is it that we're actually spending a fortune on translators to actually translate for them when they arrive?
Yeah.
When you see interviews of them outside hotels that they've been accommodated in, none of them speak English. No. So then, to print this document in English and think that it's going to do any good.
Right.
So I find it absolutely appalling that this government should even contemplate doing it.
But Andy Burnham defended it, didn't he? Because he was asked about it, I think, on Friday. And he defended it, saying, well, the thing is, it's good that we give people coming here from other countries the rundown of what our laws are. Well, I'm sorry, if you don't know that it's illegal in a country, or certainly unwise, or you shouldn't do it, to either molest children or to have sex with people against their will, if you don't know that that's wrong, then why are we letting you in?
Yeah, if I go to Dubai, I know that you can't drink there in public.
Yeah.
And so...
Well, I mean, you can, but there are things that you don't do.
You don't... It's frowned on, you don't do it.
Yeah.
It's like, there are certain other countries that you go to where it's customary before you go into somebody's house, you take your shoes off.
Yeah, right.
So you know all that stuff before you go.
Yeah.
It's no excuse to say I've arrived somewhere and, I didn't realise it was
but also
offence.
there's a moral thing here. There's a moral imperative here, which is I would have thought universal. I don't care whether you came from Afghanistan where you think it's okay to stone women to death. That's not right. Even if you're doing it, even if your religion tells you it's okay, in your brain, surely to God, you must know it's wrong. So you don't need to be told it's wrong.
I don't know if that's true, Mike. I think it's so ingrained with a lot of these people.
Well, in which case we should have a ban on those people coming to this country.
Well, I don't disagree with you there, but I think it's ingrained in them that they actually think, because it says in the Quran that this is the correct thing to do, you take it that is okay. And so I think there's a complete re-education required that would take many, many years. It's not going to be something that a leaflet is going to be able to correct all of that, in the space of a couple of days. That means you can be integrated into this society where all of those things are frowned on.
Maybe you could do a leaflet for Andy Burnham on how to dress properly when you're the Prime Minister. Don't wear a zip-up, what did you call it? A zip-up turtle.
I wouldn't waste my time.
Sleeves. No, I know.
Sorry.
Absolutely shocking. Anyway, Jeff, listen, great to see you.
Thank you. Pleasure being here.
Fantastic. And that was Jeff Banked and Tanked. Brilliant. And we'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
Yes, absolutely.
For the same again.
Yeah.
Jeff Banks, ladies and gentlemen.